good evening, happy Super League Sunday, and welcome to Game Week 11. I am delighted to say, joining me on co-coms tonight, and thank you very much for stepping in at short notice, we have Celtics boss Greevesy. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
Very, very well indeed. How's your weekend been?
Yeah, it's been nice. I had a weekend off for once. We've been took the kids to a children's show at the theatre today, which they enjoyed, and yeah, it's been nice and relaxed. Work on the morrow, but that's by the by.
It is indeed. And did you have a nice holiday?
Holiday?
You not been on holiday recently?
No.
I'm sure you've been on
holiday. My wish.
Oh well. Maybe it was just me dreaming about you being on holiday then.
Yeah, you can dream about my body by the beach whenever you like, my friend.
So we're at Game Week 11. We've had the latest raft of reserve swaps for those who decided to partake. Let's just have a little refresh of where we are. So last time out, here are the results. Some of the standout ones for me were Asta obviously beating Bostock. That was something of a surprise, given the predictions that there were. Gazelles getting a point against Bern was a decent result for them as well, and also something of a redemption story win, I suppose, for Rose, who are right down the bottom end of the table. Disappointing for Stee so far, getting a win over Casuals.
Yeah, it's the last game is sort of the cat and the pigeons, hasn't it?
Absolutely. What do you make of your start to the season? So I've got the league table up on the screen there. You're currently in 8th, 1 point below the dotted line. Pretty much an ideal position to be in at this stage, but maybe a bit frustrated at the inconsistent form. 4 wins, 5 defeats.
Yeah, my start was ideal. It was looking awful. With the 4 losses straight off the bat was not good. And then it was facing an uphill battle. I managed to pull a good run together the past few weeks, but then I've now won Manager of the Month, so we know what happens after that. So
when you look at the sorry mate, carry on.
I can see myself losing and dropping back down.
When you look at the table, there's 3 points separating 5th from top, so that's still neatly poised. There's just 2 points separating 6th from 11th, so anyone can be in the top 6 at the end of the night, kind of thing. Then you've got Triple P there, who are trying to close the gap a little bit. You've got Asta, who, as we said, got that win against Stanley last time out, and then you've got the poor Dragons there at the bottom.
Could we see a season with no wins?
We haven't yet, and I don't imagine we will, no. I think the Dragons team is far too good to not get a result at some point.
We've heard that all before.
Have we?
A team of Nesta and Ronaldinho not getting a single point, not getting a single win all season.
I mean, it would be some story, wouldn't it? Let's be fair.
It would, but Dragons always have the roller coasters, don't they? They're either very, very, very good or they are dog shit.
Very very true, very true indeed. So Ghost Games permitting, obviously it'd be yourself and Rose on last. Let me just actually take a moment, scroll through, say good evening to everyone in the chat. I've seen Ian. Ian was in nice and early. Steve's here. Alf as well. Dimble. Good, Dan, you made it. Had a lovely afternoon with Dan today at the WSL game between Leicester and Man United. It was good to meet him in person. Maka, good evening to you, sir. Swanee, I bet Swanee is absolutely off his head at the Swansea result. I'm surprised he's made it and not completely paralytic at this stage. Scott's here as well. Good evening, sir. Duggan's made it. Hodgie, Ian, and did I already say hello to Dimble? If not, good evening. And to anyone else watching along who's not yet commented in the chat, very good evening to you too. Is there any particular game you'd like to start with, mate, or do we let it roll?
Let it roll, my friend. Let it roll.
Let it roll. Okay. And of course, it would pick you first. That's not the case. Let's go to Asta against Gazelles. I'm not entirely sure what is going on here tonight, because Alf has definitely submitted the team again. There was a suggestion that Swanee was in charge on match day, although I have seen Alf in the chat. And I also know that Alf has been sending everybody else his squad details in ahead of time, including his opposition for tonight got told about his reserve swaps because he sent it to the wrong person. On the subject of reserve swaps, Astor were one of the busiest, if not the busiest. I'm never going to get all these right, but let's try. They have called up Torres, Argel, Carrick, Munites, Perlo, and Donovan, some of which who make the squad. Dropping into the reserves were Raymer, Chiesa. Now, there was some controversy, so I've just made the decision that this must be what he meant. So Edmundo wasn't on the list to be dropped, but he had too many people, and on the squad list Alf sent me, Edmundo wasn't on there, so I assumed he was meant to be dropped. John Terry as well was the interesting name, dropped into the reserves. Sorry, mate?
He hasn't really given Terry a shout, has he not? He's had most of the... And Simic has been dropped now.
Simic has been dropped as well. So interesting. But that has led to this squad selection.
Elite stays in the squad.
He does indeed. That leads to this squad selection. So we've got Butt continues in goal, Montero and Novotny at centre half. Argel, as we said, is promoted and gets a place on the bench. And Dive and Gianna Cheddar either side of Ferguson, which means Van Bronckhorst is only able to get a place on the bench. Perez and Ortega out wide. Robben partners Pirlo behind Van Nistelrooy. Landon Donovan getting a place on the bench.
Yeah, I'm disappointed they've dropped the big long name that they had in DMC last game. It was a joy to behold with Van Bronckhorst, Ferguson, Gianna Cheddar all together fighting for the same position. But it's a very strong... Gianna Cheddar gets a lot of stick, but he can pull in numbers if given the chance. But he's one of the unfashionable players, but also when you've got as many good DMCs as what Alf has, I wouldn't really be trying to shoehorn him in myself. Perez and Ortega are very good wingers. Pirlo is awful, but can take free kicks and long shots. Robben is Robben. Everyone would love him. No one would turn Robben down. Van Nistelrooy is in the bit of the Shevchenko mould. If he plays well, Astor will win. If he doesn't, you've got to hope everyone else turns up.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the away side. Give Perlo a squad number. For the Gazelles, they made 2 squad alterations from memory. Dario Silva, who's got 2 in 7 for the reserves, gets a call up, as well as Vargas, who gets a place on the bench after a couple of reserve outings for him. The big news, though, is that Kivu is finally back from his long-term injury and is straight back in the starting 11, which looks like this. So Barthez in goal, Kivu and Uliano in defence, in front of them Petrov and Di Biagio, Simao and Nedved out wide with Rivaldo and Mendieta centrally, Adilson in support of Afori Quay.
Yeah, I'm surprised Afori Quay is actually playing. I know he's struggling, but Dario Silva all day for me would be in that position. Silva is good as an AMC as well, with his dominance in the air, coming in late into the box. So I'd be surprised if Adilson manages to stay there for much longer. He hasn't been pulling up many trees in that position, unfortunately. Rivaldo's been doing very well next to the solid Mendieta. Simao should do very well on the wing, and Nedved loves playing on the left. It's a solid, if not unremarkable side, but he's been getting results with it, hasn't he?
Well, he's in that interest position, and we were laughing about it earlier. That you had Steve win last time out and drop down the table. Gazelles haven't won in 6 games, but are moving up the table.
Yeah, when it just proves how a good start can really put you on good stead for the rest of the season.
And here's a little quiz question for you, sir. Which Prime Minister was in office the last time Gazelles won?
Well, what Prime Minister was in office when the Dragons won? That's what I want to know. Was it still Theresa May, isn't it?
Let's get to the game and ask you for a score prediction, please.
I believe this one will be 1-0 Gazelles.
Okay, 1-0 Gazelles. Absolutely nothing happens in the first 27 minutes. And Kiva getting involved straight away, trying to make up for lost time. This half has flown by. Yellow card. I mean, wow. you didn't even have time to sit back, Greevesy.
That's what you want. That's what you need.
The game must know that you're on comms. You've got work.
It's a game for the purists.
Game for the purists. Let's. I mean, there's nothing to look at here, so let's have a look at the individual.
There is. If you look in, it looks like Astor have had a lot of benefits in the central midfield, but haven't been able to crack through that DMC line. We've had an 80% pass completion, but 70% tackling. They are doing very well. They just haven't been able to get through.
I love that you are one of those who will find the great value in the stats when there is no great value to be had for anybody else. When you look at it, Ndai, Ortega, to an extent Perlo, definitely Gianna Cheddar, you said he's capable of numbers, and he's seeing plenty of the ball, isn't he?
He is. He's getting amongst it. He's passing. Look, there's a very good pass completion for someone that gets, and he's missed one tackle. He's missed one header. The 6 is a bit unfair, really.
Let's have a look over at Gazelles. Rox just said Perez and Robin being utilised as ball boys is a bold move. I mean, that is as average as it gets for the away side, isn't it?
It is. As I say, if you look at it just quickly, you think, yes, they've had 2 shots on target. But if you looked at their passes and their tackling, they are losing the battle. They've just managed to get in behind that little bit more. Kivu having an attempt is probably from a set piece. And Quasi Kwai, whatever he is, managed to probably get one run in from beat the offside trap one time. So other than that, I would say Astor are on top.
Looking at the subs available for both sides, are you expecting substitutions at halftime?
I wouldn't envisage Astor doing anything, but I could see Gazelles making a cheeky little change.
Well, Dan's already said run. Alf is trying to discuss it with Swan because none of them can decide who's actually in charge tonight, it seems. Scott's even had enough already. Try to get Alf to make a decision.
Weren't there rules about this at the start of the season to try and stop all this?
Alpha said okay till 60 as well. So let's resume the action. And I'm sure in about 3 seconds we'll be discussing it again if it's anything like the first half. Yellow card for Montero. There's a bit more action. And it looks like the away side are still the ones creating the chances. Approaching the hour mark now. And a big chance for Astor. And we stop it on 61. The home side have a corner. It looked to me like Gazelles were on top just until that hour spell, and Astor managed to create. Looking at, again, what's available, Landon Donovan, the obvious attacking option, although it wouldn't surprise me if Van Bronckhorst came on in this one and made an impact.
I don't understand what he's done to Ndai.
He's just not the same player under Alf, is he?
He never had a 6 rating before he put on an Astor shirt. He'd get sent off and have a 9.
Is there a suggestion maybe Robin goes out wide in place of Perez and Donovan comes on just to add a more natural attacker?
Yeah, or even get Pirlo off Donovan, because Pirlo only taken free kicks.
Straight swap Pirlo for Donovan has been requested by Alf. Hodgie making a very valid comment. We're all letting ourselves down this season, serving this dross every week. But this is your sort of game, isn't it, Greevesy? A chess battle.
It is. Sod all these high-scoring games. I feel ashamed of myself having so many shots on target the past few weeks. I used to like having the 6 shots, 1 goal. That's all you need.
As for Gazelles, as the away side, will they be quite happy with how things are going?
No, I can see Dan being very upset, really.
Having met him today, I can't imagine Dan being upset about anything.
I bet he's livid. It was all a front. He's chucking teacups around his lovely kitchen right now.
Again, looking at the subs available, Dario Silva coming on looks to be a likely outcome. No fitness areas of concern, so anything will be tactical.
I'd say Silva and Youssef.
Silva is coming on for a 4, and there's Jens. Greavesy loves this, doesn't he?
I'd take Edison off for Hersey.
Well, I will just wait the 30 seconds to make sure there's nothing else, but it looks like that's the only change requested. We mentioned, obviously, Dario Silva, just the 2 goals and 7 reserve outings. Does he warrant being called up? I mean, his form's okay, although they're competitive there as well.
The major things in the Super League is pace, acceleration, jumping, heading, and bravery, which he's all very good at.
Let's carry on with that one change. As I'm trying to keep an eye on what's going on in the chat as well. Both sides making, fuck me, still nothing. I mean, I regret slowing it down already. But let's see if anything happens. John Cheddar goes in the book.
But Super League always is the other way around.
Mendieta looks like he took the set piece and scored directly from the set piece. It's 1-0 to the away side. Our Gazelle's going to get their first winning 7. And here comes Silva. 4 minutes being added on. Into those 4 minutes now. Absolutely nothing happening in the 4 minutes. There's the final whistle. And oh my God. Once again, I seem to be at least one game every game week at the minute. I say, fucking hell.
It's beautiful.
It's possibly the most beautiful game in history. Go on, mate. You tell us why that is a great game for the spectator.
Well, I'm not here to entertain people. I'm here to dissect this beautiful. Gazelles have been dominated against Astra. Have dominated in the air. Been a very good pass completion and very good tackles won. I do like to see around 70% of my tackles won personally, but 62 is very good. I'd be disappointed if I was Gazelles with only 56, but they've managed to come away with the spoils today with a 1-0 win. If you look at the amount of offsides, the defence has really marshaled each other well. Because if they weren't playing if Astor weren't playing an offside trap with those how many Premier League games do you see with 13 offsides?
Yeah,
you don't. True. VAR is not all over this, so it could be a lot better. If you look underneath the hood, it would have been a more exciting game to watch.
Well, let's have a look at the home side first. Despite being fucking hell, and Dyke still got man of the match.
It's because he headers his nan. Look at it. He'd miss one. If you threw his nan on the pitch, he'd header at a safety. There's 4 key headers, 2 key tackles, and 45 completed passes. It might have been boring, but he was clattering anyone that was near him.
That was worth the tenner. As for Gazelles, Barthez, the best player on the pitch, really, with his 8.
He made 2 saves. Look at his pass completion, though. Terrible.
I mean, there's just nothing. I appreciate that your character within the Super League is loving this. I see nothing here of talkable note.
It's the 1-0. Mendy had a free kick that saved it for the day.
Are we
Send him my way,
see...
Alf. Send him my way.
I'm not sure Alf has any deals left, if I'm honest. But there we go. But congratulations to Gazelles, who end their winless run away at Astor. Let's move very swiftly on to Dragons versus East Coast. Now, this could be entertaining. Although, on saying that, Dimble's games have been less than entertaining of late.
He's playing the Hodgie block, isn't he? So it's not going to be too entertaining.
They made the one change to their squad, I think. Locatelli getting promoted up in place of Galletti. Galletti, I think, is the player that went down. No, Saha's been there the whole way, just hasn't featured, or he had one sub appearance. They line up like this. It's unchanged from memory from last time out. Yeah, unchanged. The only amend is on the bench, where Locatelli comes straight in onto the substitutes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice solid block, isn't it? Biscan and Paredes will tackle a lot. Jorg and Zanoni are very solid. You've just got to hope Henri pulls in a good performance in the hole behind the beast that is Anelka.
No, absolutely. I will just take this moment to apologise to all the regular viewers who will have probably noticed by now there's no ticker going along the bottom, etc. That is very much because I got in quite late from seeing Dan earlier, and I only just sent Greevesy the invite to the stream at about 8 minutes to 9 when I'd set it up. I had no time to type out any graphics for this evening's show. As for Dragons, they also make one alteration. Fontana comes in for the injured Tudor, but doesn't make the match day squad. There is a slight tactical tweak tonight, however. Bowyer and Keane playing as a midfield 2, Gerard holding midfield on his own. Despite the tactical tweak, it's largely an, as you'd expect, Dragons 11. Slapdash this indeed, Hodgie. But then it means we all get an early night, doesn't it? So, particularly if the games go as quickly as the first one did. Do you think that the slight alteration, I mean, obviously they played this last time out. Do you see them doing a little bit better?
It is a very good formation, good players playing in the correct positions. I just think with Lidanev there, it is a slap in the face to Archie back and his Super League legacy.
Well, let's have a quick look at that. So 4 starts, 3 sub appearances for back, 1 assist. Ledenev 1-1, no goal contributions yet, but he has got a slightly higher average rating.
Meh.
You miss my humour. I do, Archie. I find all of you very humorous, and I laugh at everything you say because otherwise I'd cry at all the moaning that I get. We mentioned about the fact that they haven't won a game in the intro. I said that I thought their squad was too good. Seeing this now, seeing the fact that Back and Tony are on the bench, is tonight the night the Dragons get off the mark?
No, I think we're going to go a whole year with no wins at all. Get the ultimate wooden spoon.
The ultimate wooden spoon.
Yeah.
Score prediction, please.
East Coast 1-0.
East Coast 1-0. Oh, and an early chance for the home side. Love that Dragons team, to be honest, says Tato. And the home side definitely piling on the pressure early. So it only goes in the book. But the half is flying by quite quickly again, already on 36 minutes. I wish I could read half of what was going on for the Dragons. Keown goes in the book, and we get to half-time. And, I mean, the Dragons have done everything there but score, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been making good pressure. They've dominated in the air. They've won a lot of the tackles, and there's very good pass completion. I don't think Duggan can have any issues with those stats, in honesty.
What about East Coast? You mentioned that your ideal tackling percentages under 50% for Coast is going to be a bit of a worry. So not only are they doing that, but they're not winning it in the air either.
No, they're being dominated. It looks like it's men against boys at the moment.
Well, let's have a look at the men first. See what stands out. Everyone's seeing the ball. It's quite evenly spread. It's not like they're preferring one area, so it suggests that domination is all over the pitch. Gerard is a bit of a worry that he's only won 2 out of 5 tackles in that crucial position.
Yeah, but he's putting more effort in the leading, isn't he?
Are you suggesting that you would like Lednev to come off at half-time?
It always pisses me off when you look and you see no tackles attempted by anyone. If it's got a 0-0-0 and he's attempted 1 header.
But what about Ronaldinho? He hasn't attempted a tackle either.
No, but he's had at least 2. He's had 2 shots on target and he's attempted 2 headers. Lednev hasn't even done that. He's not even moved forward with the ball, has he?
Duggan going as is. As for East Coast, a gap in that in his position, and Anelka obviously up top, not seeing much of the ball. Toldo is running things for East Coast, really keeping his side in the game. When you see defensive players rated 6s and your goalkeeper on a 9, you could see how much pressure you're really under.
I would. The way that Agat has been playing at fullback, I'm surprised he's actually swapped Zanoni out into that position. I know it's a bit more defensive having Zanoni in the centre instead of Agat, but that's what I would have.
Dimble is making changes, so Bishkan to central MC. Move Paredes central. Forward arrow on Henri. What do you make of that?
It's going more attacking, isn't it? He's trying to rectify how much dominant Keane and Bowyer have been in the centre and basically try and create more chances.
Well, let's see if it works as we roll to 60. And early yellow card in the second half for Dragons, who take a 1-0 lead through Lee Young-pyo. And Anelka with a chance to fire back instantly. And that goal seems to have woken up East Coast, that's for sure. But here come Dragons. Oh, it's a red card! Paredes has been sent off.
Dancing around the streets.
Oh, what an opportunity this is for Dragons now. 1-0 up and 1 man up. So we're actually looking at the away side first. We were pausing the game anyway for the tactical break. But now Dimble has things to consider. Where would you go in this situation?
I'd move Biscan back.
Yeah.
And maybe Locatelli on for Henri into the centre with an arrow on.
So actually, despite losing, you would move players back 1 to try and solidify it and catch them on a counter.
Yeah, everyone goes, oh, let's chuck them in forward and leave. You lose 1-0, you can get a point in. Why try and allow your team to get smashed when you could salvage a draw or even sneak a win at the end?
It's an interesting.
Because a lot of people go, oh, fuck it, sub off Cordoba, put on Locatelli, move Biscan back, or put Morientes on for Cordoba, chuck him up front, 1 at the back, and lose 5-0. What's the point?
Well, it's another approach to trying to get back in the game. The more players forward, the more chance of scoring.
Doesn't always work, though, does it?
Bishkan to DMC.
In that theory, everyone knows that one striker predominantly scores more goals than if you had 2 up top. By what you were saying is more players up front would score more.
Bishkan to DMC.
Why does everyone play 4 up top?
When you say diagonal arrows, Dimble, do you mean like that?
I think you mean Zanoni and Jorg into the centre.
Oh, yes, I see.
The pineapple.
Like that. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. But no actual personnel changes. Do you find that interesting? Yeah, tuck the wide men in.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's got him on the bench. I'm a big fan of Morientes myself. And it's a shame to see him languishing on the bench.
So that's
if he comes off Anelka, he might get
So the tactical change, but no personnel changes. Well, I've seen that formation before. What about the Dragons? This is a new position this season. They're not used to, being ahead at this stage. The last time they were ahead was that game where they couldn't possibly lose and ended up getting 2 men sent off and thrown away the lead. What does Duggan do here? Does he go conservative and try and defend it, or does he carry on as is and
I think take by ear for Luca Tony, go 2 up top, then just go for it.
And no goalkeeper.
Yeah. Super League way, isn't it?
Duggan going as is. Let's resume the action then with the home side of goal and Emmanuel. Oh, it's 2. Ronaldinho from the free kick. And surely this time, at the 11th time of asking, Dragons are going to get that win.
Himself.
And of course, after all you said about this being... Oh, it's free. It's Ronaldinho again. The Dragons have finally clicked.
It's going to be leading with 3 assists, isn't it?
Oh, it's 3-1. Henry with a consolation goal in injury time. But Dragons finally get the win. East Coast struggling with just 10 men to compete. And at the 11th time of asking, Dragons get that victory. And after all you said about this will be the first winless run, of course, it would be while you were on comms. The Dragons
is going to have to get a new voodoo doll, isn't he?
Looking at the stats, Dragons did use that. They were already creating more than their visitors, but they certainly made the extra man count, didn't they?
They did. They took some advantage, capitalising from the free kick as well. So it was always good to see. It's very rare to see someone score direct from a free kick on this game, surprisingly, especially with how many players actually have 20 for free kick taking.
Lots of praise coming in the chat for Dragons for finally getting that win. As for the managers themselves, Duggan saying unlucky, and Dimble saying he could see it coming a mile off. Let's have a look at the home side then. And Ronaldinho, man of the match, 10-star rating. I'm just having a quick look. No, Lednev didn't get any assists.
The big man at top. The Greek later provided something on a plate for him, didn't he? And then Greevesy managed to get some action into the game.
Obviously,
after getting sacked by Villa, he managed to pull out a performance.
Ronaldinho will get the headlines for his performance, but it can't go unnoticed the performance of Martin Keown either at the back.
No, he's a solid old player, isn't he? Nesta putting in his usual Dragons performance. So I'm surprised he's still allowed the captain's armband, in all honesty.
Duggan saying there's nothing he's done different. Well, the thing you've done different, Duggan, is win this time around. So what about the away side? Dimble started well, but it's all gone a bit wrong of late. Is this just his blip in the season, and as soon as he gets that result, he'll be right back at it?
Yeah, I think we all know the season ebbs and flows, and he's facing a bit of a dip at the minute, and I'm sure he'll come out of it soon. I'm a bit surprised about Henry attempting 13 tackles, though.
Not surprised about him winning 3 of them.
Yeah, but it's showing he's pressing from the front, so I'd be more happy with that.
Dimble pointing out he is 3rd in the league. Yeah, but you're not the swashbuckling side you were at the start of the season, is what I'm trying to say, Dimble.
Fuck the swashbuckling.
Fuck the swashbuckling. But there are the player ratings. Screenshot them, save them, put them in a frame, because it's certainly the best performance and result of Dragons season so far. Next, we are going to Fulchester United at home to Walton Casuals, and we start with the away side, who make 1 squad alteration. Cassano promoted, 1 goal, 1 assist in the reserves so far this season. He takes the place of Stephen Hughes, who only came in to the squad a couple of game weeks ago because of a longer-term injury, made no appearances, and is dropped straight back down again. But the big
Stephen Hughes and show him what his stats look like.
Yeah, it does coincide with me showing his stats, yes.
Yeah.
The big news is in the team selection, though. Contra returns on the right-hand side of midfield, and Comandini replaces Cliver, who drops to the bench. Cepeda moves centrally, with Stephen Davies dropping to the bench. Other than that, it is as was.
Cepeda playing central is very interesting. I'm a big fan of Claudio Lopez. Comandini is a steady striker in the league, and the rest of the side is just solid.
They had, so they currently sit second. They conceded 4 up until Steve put a further 2 past them, so they now have the joint best defensive record. But it's still impressive, isn't it? Just 6 conceded in 10 games. That's the sort of levels you're delighted with.
It is, and also if you look at the average rating of players, Gianluigi Buffon is actually one of the top 5 players in the league at the moment, so he's got to be very happy with that.
He is. There he is. Okay, let's have a look at the home side, who themselves make a couple of alterations. Nikolai comes up from the reserves, and he was in the first team squad originally, then dropped down. He's now back after scoring 1 in 4. He replaces Nicola Ventola, who didn't get an opportunity. Rui Costa is also back in the first team squad after injury. He replaced the injured Albertini. Squad-wise, it's the same formation again. Valgarin returns in place of Mendes, who drops to the bench, and Mendes da Silva comes out the matchday squad entirely. Michael Owen replaces Vieri, who drops to the bench.
Yeah, it's a very strong squad. I thank Maka again for the use of this formation for the next upcoming fixture. He's got the personnel for it. He does talk down his side after his horrendous draft and his marvellous work that he managed to do in the transfer window. Is a very Maka side, really. I feel it's got not as many big United names as what he would like, but I do think that he will get performances out of this team.
The other change I forgot to mention, Abiati fit again after his injury, goes back and goal. Andre, maybe slightly unfairly, drops back to the bench. I thought he played quite well while he was deputising for those 3 games.
Yeah, but he did throw the ball in his own net in the last game. You can't concede 3 goals away at Haggis and then expect to play, really.
A score prediction, please.
0-0.
0-0. And very, very early yellow card there for Fulchester. And then one for Contra of Casuals. And it's 1-0. There goes that prediction. Riquelme is 5th of the season. Now, here's a question. Riquelme's in that list of players that people claim that just can't quite match up to their reputation in the Super League. Is Maka finally proving the doubters wrong when it comes to Riquelme? 5 goals. He's done what, sorry?
Maka has always said that Riquelme will come good if he had him.
He did. He did always say it. For coming up to half time, a decent opportunity for Casuals, but Michael Owen there with a chance to double the home side's lead, doesn't take it. Will he rue that miss? Oh, good attempt there again. Corner kick, no time to take it. Half time, it is Fulchester 1, Casuals 0. There's far too many opportunities there for your liking, but for the neutral, that is much more exciting first half to watch.
Fuck the neutral.
You're doing a lot of fucking tonight.
I wish.
Your stamina is unrivaled. Looking at the stats here, Casuals, again, we mentioned their defensive record. 48% of tackles won is unusual.
Especially with Soroczynski and Vieira. Unless everyone else is missing their tackles and it's just them two.
It's just them 2 are the only 2 tackling. Well, we will find that out in just a moment. Let's have a look at Fulchester first and see what's happening there. Solid team performance. Enrique, Owen and Batistuta not seeing a lot of the ball, but everyone else behind them working very hard. The assist coming from Seydorf for Riquelme's goal. It's not a bad looking first half for Maka, that is it? You might just want a bit more from his forward-thinking players.
Yeah, but they haven't been able to get him out of the ball much, have they? There's been a midfield battle getting past the block that casuals have put in. So, yeah, I've got I wouldn't be too overly critical when you got Big Shagger on the bench to come on. It's always going to be an advantage.
The Owen experiment lasted exactly 45 minutes. Vieri coming back in off the bench. Let's have a look.
Owen's always done well from Aka as an impact sub, hasn't he?
Well, the use of the word "well" is interesting. He's always been used as an impact sub. Whether he's had the impact that title requires leaves a lot to be desired. Dimble says, "Good to see Raquelme doing it. Beautiful player." Alf sending Swan for a weekend in Rome. Alf's off for the evening. Good evening. Have a good night, Alf. Looked very smart in his Oldham shirt. Hodgie saying roll, please. Anyone else notice the terrestrial TV bias of all the non-league clubs getting Football League clubs in the FA Cup, and purely because it's Wrexham, the new Salford City, Wrexham v Oldham picked for TV for no obvious reason other than Ryan Reynolds might be there. Let's resume the action and see if the interesting that it's the side ahead that made the change. Hodgie has full faith in his side. 56 on the clock, still 1-0. And then we pass the hour mark. A couple of opportunities there, and we pause the game with the away side having a corner under a little bit of pressure at the minute, Fulchester, but they're holding on.
Yeah, I'm looking deeper at the stats. I'd probably take Ambrosini off for Costa and move Gattuso to DMC. Try and save off that yellow card that Ambrosini's on, and with the 6 rating, I can move Gattuso back, is what I would do personally.
In fairness, that's not a bad shout at all, really. Although, does that have too many attacking players then?
I don't know, but he could end up ruining his decision, couldn't he?
He could. Maka has decided to roll with it, so no changes for Fulchester. As for casuals, still looking at the front two, not really getting the ratings that Hodgie would want. Thuram and Vieira as well. I mean, you mentioned Ndai earlier. When do you often see Vieira with a 6?
Only when he had a Haggis shirt on, in fairness.
Of course, you are ahead of Haggis now in the table. That long spell of Haggis being ahead of you is over.
We don't talk about the dark days anymore, I'm afraid.
Is that we only looking forward now, are we?
Yeah, the future's bright.
The future's bright. The future's Pirates. Cliver coming on for Comandini is the casuals change. So both sides have changed their striker in this game. Let's see what effect that has. Still 1-0. We slow it down. Just under 20 minutes to play. A free kick. Giggs takes it. Lopez. Habiati with a save. Gattuso now picks it up, and Batistuta Seedorf. Free kick awarded, which Batistuta plays slow. Seedorf now. Vieira jumps to clear it. Greevesy, ask Fyfie to set you a challenge live on stream to get us some transfers. There are no transfers pending. Fulchester with hold. Just had
to be careful, Dougie, as is, because with Fyfie knowing how tall I am, I can cut the sexual tension in here with a knife. So we got to be careful. I don't know what sort of challenges he would give me, but I also know that I don't really want to be windmilling on YouTube and get the channel banned. The
problem is, Greevesy, you might have the height requirement sorted, but I'm not sure you have the breast requirement.
I don't know. They're getting bigger daily.
We've reached full time. And Fulchester
could be a D cup.
Fulchester have beaten casuals who threw the kitchen sink at it. They were quite wasteful in front of goal in the end, but Fulchester hang on for a massive 3 points.
Yeah, Maka's going to be delighted with that. The prony is going to be flowing. It's the general. He loves a 1-0 win as much as he disdains it because it's lucky, but it's like fuck your old one anyway.
Hodgie's obviously sent me comments saying dominant performance before you see the match stats because Mac has come straight back with that's lucky. Let's have a look at the home side, and there you go. That tells you everything you need to know. Abiati, man of the match, straight back in the lineup, proving why the manager was right to do so.
It is. You can send the apology to him and address Andre whenever you like.
Vieri never had much more of an impact than Michael Owen, so that's clearly still an area that Macca might want to look at. But generally speaking, solid team performance.
It is. Ambrosini, who was on a 6 at 60 minutes, has managed to put his performance around, and it's a fantastic display, really. And I know he's one of your favourites as well, so you can't.
Oh, I'm a big Ambrosini fan. I think he is. I think he is much higher up the list of top defensive midfielders than a lot of people give him credit for.
He is one of my, because I like to do home saves where I try and do home saves where I don't buy Belarusians.
Okay.
And Abiati is high up. Ambrosini, rather, is high up on my list of purchases because you can get him so cheap at the start.
We got Abiati dead, says Hodgie. Let's have a look at the away side, as we say, through the kitchen sink at it. Clivert came on but wasn't given any service to thrive off of, which would be a bit of a frustration for Hodgie because he was winning games. He wanted to go a bit more attacking. That worked for a game or two, and now because of selection availability, he's gone back to pretty much what was at the start of the season, and again they've gone back to not scoring.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue, really, isn't it? Clivert hasn't performed the way you'd have wished. And if I get some transfers, I would definitely have a chat to Hodgie about him. Milewski's done fantastic in that centre at MC, but it's also meant that Soroczynski and Vieira haven't had much to do.
Have you got MCs you can offer Hodgie? Because that's the area he's identified as a weak point.
He could have Emerson back.
Well, congratulations to Fulchester. It means that for a few days I won't be getting a rage quit message, which is always nice.
Duggan, that is fantastic.
Is that true?
And I always thought his pull-up game wasn't strong.
Oh, maybe it's not going to be as much of a shit show as I thought then. If that's true. Congratulations again to Fulchester. It really wants to play your game, but we're going to make him wait a bit longer. Let's go to Haggis, who entertained the Vikings. Haggis made 2 squad alterations, live promoted, as is Medina, in place of Anderson and why can't I work out who the second? Nakata, yes. And the breaking news on Nakata as well is that Ian has decided that he's going to play no further part and has terminated the loan spell a few games early with a view to getting a second loan in for the second half of the season. No, I said that everyone would have the chance to renegotiate it for the second half of the season. He's just decided to send Nakata back early.
What a shithouse.
What else have we got going on in the chat? Hodgie saying he's the inside man. It's from our political correspondent.
I always knew you were
Duggan given a come and get me plea for Lee Bowyer. He gets in my 11 at the moment, says Dimble, reference Nakata, so he may well be seeing some more game time at his parent club. As for the 11, still no place for R9. Amoroso doesn't get in either. Neither of the 2 promoted from the reserves get in. And there's a slight tactical tweak. There was 4 across the middle last time out. He's dropped it back to 2 DMs with Skulls playing centrally on his own.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this formation. When I first joined the Super League, this was the first formation I played. So if someone would like to get credit for copying formations, I'm always here, Ian. You're welcome. Yeah, it's Simone. I don't really like him as a DM. He's an MC for me. Donny is very good on the left. Figo is best on the right, I think. Yeah, he's got players playing in sort of their best positions. I haven't got a clue what Facundo Sava is doing in the Super League. I know he scored in the last round, but meh. When you've got players like Rosicky on the bench, why is he even in your 24? Rossini and Elber are good, reliable strikers. It's a very average Super League team.
Okay. Someone who thought they had an average Super League team, but is far exceeding anyone's preseason predictions, is current top of the league side, Red Vikings. They made 2 squad alterations. Etsabaria is back after his injury and goes straight into the 11. We've also got, oh no, wrong player. We've also got the very versatile, I'm not even going to attempt it, GX I'm going to go with. He gets promoted after 6 reserve outings. Etsabaria replaces Overmars, who drops from the squad entirely. Other than that,
I'm disappointed with Dan's influence that he hasn't got the Greek lad and the Belarusian lad on the bench so they can play any position possible.
Desai is the other change to the starting 11, replacing Saeed, who drops to the bench.
Yeah, it's a very workmanlike side, which I'm always a fan of. Big Justin Walker pulls up trees wherever he is, no matter what the league he is. And it's the one bit. I'll give you my PayPal at the end, Duggan, and then we can discuss deals.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, Big Desai will be swinging his dick about in the centre with Ado, who is probably well endowed as well. So they'll just be windmilling in the back and stopping anyone getting through. And with Gamara, the mad bastard, being calmed down by Cannavaro, is a very good defensive partnership. And in goal, everyone loves a bit of Quinn.
Don't they just? A score prediction then, please, for Haggis against Red Vikings.
The Vikings, I will say, will win 4-0.
4-0 to the away side. It's definitely not happening, as Sava has opened the scoring on just 5 minutes for the home team. Plenty of time, of course. Don't you start that redraft nonsense. No transfer windows, no redraft. It's not glitched, it's fine. Shut up. First half coming to an end already. Haggis have looked decent, and it's 2. Rossini on the stroke of half time. And just as Rossini scores, we get the klaxon come from Rocks. 2-0 to the home side. Fyfie, can I put Nakata in my 24? No, because it wouldn't have happened till after the reserve swaps anyway. Vikings not creating anything.
Yeah, the bubble might burst for the Red Vikings.
I mean, it's so unlike them at the top of the league. Let's have a look at Sava. So that is now his second goal. That's his second goal, I think, in consecutive games, and that'll make it 2 in 4 for him. So definitely proving his worth. Looking at the ratings, ball being shared about, I think Ian will be quite happy with that.
Yeah, when you've always got to be happy with a 2-0 lead, haven't you? And Michelini not doing anything, which is a bit of a shock.
Yeah, as soon as Ian suggested, so when I said that Figo was a contender for Hags' player of the season, and Ian told me that Michelini was the outright player of the season, he's been pretty average since. So maybe Fyfie does know. As for Vikings, let's have a look what's going on there. You said everyone likes a bit of Quinn. Haggis certainly do. Vikings fans won't be as impressed tonight.
Oh, the kid needs a wash, doesn't it? He's not doing well.
Just seeing what's going on in the chat. There's an identity crisis between Sava and Salva. I think bad call, I think, is Dimble's reaction to me saying that Nakata can't come up for another few games. It's just the way it is. I'm trying to be as fair and down the line as possible. If I knew he was coming back, I would have left a space, by the way. Well, you can blame Ian for that. That's not a me problem. That's an Ian problem and a you problem for the communication lines not being there. Ian leaving it as is till 60. Just wait for Jens to see if he wants to change anything. If it's causing a hissy, I'll keep him. Well, no, because I've already cancelled it now, haven't I? So you can't keep it. I will put out a vote. Yes, because that worked so well for Duggan when he was trying to pressure me into transfers. And all I did was delay giving anyone any transfers even longer. Rayed, changes incoming for Vikings. Rayed for Boda. Where's the other one? Smith for Jacques. I wish people stop commenting because it keeps disappearing. 2 up top with, you say, the central with an arrow. Yeah, that's it. Just wasn't using him. I think his point is more that he thought loans were a full season. Well, again, I told everyone that they would be renegotiated. So again, that's not a me problem. Don't think that's the issue, Ian. I thought loans were for the season to stop any shenanigans. No, I said that they would be negotiated at a halfway point and there would be none after game week 20.
I'm filling up a drink.
You fill up a drink while I keep repeating the same thing over and over again till all 14 managers have understood fully what they can be negotiated at the halfway stage means. And we resume the action. Yellow card early for Vikings. Still, Haggis coming forward looking for a third. Oh, good attempt for Rossini. Shalini goes in the book. Vikings just trying to force the issue a little bit. And we stopped the game. I think that's actually 65 minutes. Absolutely outstanding. I'm not scolding anyone, Rox. It's I'm just reminding everyone what they already agreed to and have been told plenty of times. Match ratings, because I clicked off that quite quickly. Everyone rating 7 or higher, with the exception of the booked Michelini, who remains on a 6. Condition-wise, no one really struggling. Figo 84, Elber 83, but that's not really concerned. Just over an hour in. I'll see you in January. I think we're actually only in. Oh yeah, no, it will be. Unless of course he plays in the CM Cup, of course. You might well see him yet in December, Dimble. Shearer for Rossini and Roll for Haggis. As for Vikings, they've made their 2 attacking changes. Still 6s largely across the board. Bad day at the office, really, this for Vikings. And no one's condition below 90. 3 up top. So you wanting it like that, Jens? Sickening, says Rob. Thank you, Rox. That's very kind. But there's no bring Saeed for Addo too. No problem at all. There's no need for sides. We're all playing one game here. It's all friends. And here come PvP ready to deliver a lecture. Thanks. No problem at all. No need to slow this one down at the moment with Haggis having a 2-goal lead. But if Vikings get one back, which they have done through Crespo, we will slow it down. And
Rox might be happy. I've heard that there's going to be a TED talk in Kilmarnock by one of Steve's centre halves if he was interested in going.
Vikings win finally the
man who's
pressure on.
known for dealing with pressure, Chris Perry, is given a open discussion.
Oh, it's 3-1 to Haggis. Speaking of Chris Perry, we'll come on to Rose in a bit, obviously, but he is a shock name that's been demoted to the reserves.
Well, it proves he can't cope with the pressure, isn't
it? Here comes Rayed. S12 dives to his left, pushes it away, and Ferdinand takes control to set Haggis off again. Shearer now moves into the area. Good sliding tackle by Cannavaro into injury time. Haggis looking for a fourth, maybe. Here comes Donny. But robbed and free kick awarded. One last chance. Corner kick. Crespo. Esteval with a fine save. It's another corner. Walker again. Rayed. But he puts it wide. And that should be it. And Haggis win at home against top of the table Vikings. 3-1. They were under a bit of pressure, but ultimately they deserve it, you would say, on the balance of that.
Yeah, it's a good performance, and I think Jens can't be too disheartened. He's probably just got the dreaded 5 from a keeper, which does happen. As we all know.
So again, just to clarify any misconceptions about how things haven't changed at all. Steve's unsure how long he's out for. If you get a personal message, it means they're out for a month or more. If you don't, it's 3 weeks or less. So not a long-term injury. Just to clarify again, big win, Haggis, well done. You could always ask as well, and I will happily tell you, as I tell everybody. We've got some well-played messages. What a team, amazing draft. Macca saying redraft. Again, Fulchester and Haggis wins break that narrative completely. I mentioned during comms there it was a bad day at the office for Vikings, but what a performance it was from the home side. Nobody rating below a 7. Donny there getting a 9. Rio Ferdinand, who gets much... there's a fair amount of criticism.
Very good performance with Donny on the left. If people are given transfers, would Z Roberto be on the loose?
No, I don't think so. I can't see Zé Roberto going anywhere this season at any point, whether there's a window or not. As for Vikings, his injury record, though, would make me consider it if I was in that position. Looking at the Vikings, it's fairly average. It got a bit better towards the end, but really they've just been let down by their usual reliable goalkeeper.
Yeah, Haggis took full advantage of the Quim tonight, didn't they?
Would you think Jens will be concerned by what he's seen here?
Not overly. It's just they haven't been able to create much, and it's been a poor goalkeeping display.
Yeah, I think that's the main crux of the matter, and I don't think Jens will need to react too sternly. This team have done well for him up to this point. The same way that Steve says 1-9 doesn't make a summer, 1 loss doesn't make a bad season. Rocks, Donny, Sava, Michelini, I may violently. Indeed. Let's move on to the next game, which is Triple P versus Northern Burn. We're at the halfway stage. Triple P find themselves 12th at the moment. They have called up Romario, who scored 6 in 7 in the reserves. Also scored for Mike's Australia, got 1 in 2 for them. At 35 years of age, though. What do you think? There's the debate about players being too young. Can players be too old, Greevesy?
No, Romario is a good player, but I do think that Rob is clutching at straws like the pathetic person he actually is.
I have a feeling there was one other as well, possibly. No, that's the only reserve swap, but there are changes. So Romario comes straight into the team, and Penza drops to the bench. What else have we got? Petit coming in for Makaleli in holding midfield. Petit, obviously a player you know very well.
Yeah, and it's just a shame to see him being tortured the way he is.
Duggan saying Romario into the 11 is class. Scott, on the other hand, saying, what the holy cow is this? And Mike, who hasn't had his full list of squads yet, now realising another frontline change for the national team. Just spied Free at the back. Yeah, he's been playing Free at the back, Duggan. And who was it? I don't know if it was Thursday or if it was last Sunday. And it was just like, I think, no, it might have been Tato commented on the fact that he wasn't sure about Free at the back. What's your thoughts on it, Greevesy?
I've tried it a lot and it doesn't work.
Okay. Where is Rob Sloth and what have you done with him, says Duggan. I long for a Triple P three-pronged attack, says Rox. And some more talk about the national side. On the subject, don't forget, at the conclusion of this, much like on Thursday night, the second leg of the Wizard of Oz World Cup playoff game. Australia are 5-2 up after the away leg. Mike will be joining me again after a short 10-15 minute break to go through the second leg of that game. Michael Bridges is there, Mike, ready to score for his country. No one cares what Greevesy thinks, says Rob. It's a bit harsh when you've come on to grace us with your presence on co-coms.
Yeah, but he's a reprobate, so there's no real difference, is there?
Northern Burn, the easiest team in the history of Super League. No reserve changes, no player changes, everything as is.
It's what you wanted. It's consistency 101.
Nakata is Bonza, by the way, Mike. He is indeed. He will be available moving forward. Although I'm not sure what games Australia have left. Just the second leg. So I'm not sure if Mike will have another game for a little while. They find themselves fourth at the moment, Northern Burn. But one of the top goal scorers in the league, only Fulchester, scoring more at the moment. Their defensive record isn't too bad at all, you know, averaging one a game at the moment. Is that what we're looking to improve from Burn in the scope heading towards the second half of the season? Just a bit more defensive stability?
It's an Ian side, isn't it? It's Huppier and Larson are very solid defenders, and with Jeremy's in front, you can only see their defence improving as they get used to playing with each other.
Rob sending you more personal messages via the chat. A score prediction, please, for Triple P versus Northern Burn.
Northern Burn 4-0.
Funny, because that's exactly what Jens said there, look.
Yep.
Let's kick this one off and find out if you're both correct. It is Northern Burn who started the quickest, but good opportunity there for Triple P. They're going to have to take them when they come, you feel. It's kind of leveled out. Burns still looking slightly the more dominant. 24 minutes now on the clock. Oh, it's an own goal. Kevin Hoffland giving the away side the lead.
Absolutely.
And that gets us to half time. It was an action-packed first 20-25 minutes. Well, it seemed that way, but not many chances created at all from either side.
Just disappointing, isn't it?
Well, you should be loving this. The headers are fairly equal. Both teams tackling well. Both teams passing well. No sides creating much.
I know.
This is exactly what you're looking for.
When there's a team in red that you actually despise, you want to see them get battered every week, don't you?
Oh, right. So is it more a case of normally this is your sort of game because Triple P are there in their home kit, you want Burn to batter them?
Yeah, because it is. People get battered everywhere they go,
don't they? Ian, without even seeing his stats, has said as is. Rob has just referred to the first half performance as wank. Let's bring his stats up.
The only
the first thing. Petit, sorry, or Wellens. Petit.
Yeah. Well, what's Wellens doing?
Well, the thing that I instantly noticed was the lack of ball that both the wide players have had.
They just can't get it, can they?
So a tactical change. They're going 3 up top, Triple P. Zidane is being replaced by Mpenza.
Mackay would do better behind the 2 with an arrow, but that would be too intelligent for his small mind.
Ian's already said as is, but we'll very briefly just bring up his stats. Emerton, the pick of the players so far. Sigalko yet to have a shot, the only shot falling to Fiore. Let's resume the action then and go to 60, see if the 3 up top gives Triple P a way back in. It hasn't so far, and Byrne continues to come forward looking for a second. We reach the hour point, and as we reach the hour point, Byrne go 2 up. Keane doubles the away side's advantage, and it looks like being another long night for Triple P.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see, isn't it? You got Emmanuel Petit, former Loco legend, the only person that's pulling in decent stats, and other than that, it's just general Rob shit.
Well, I mean, it became a bit of a joke to begin with, but what has happened, you know, to the swagger of the old Sloths team? Couldn't replicate it at Devils, struggling to replicate it at Triple P.
Season 1 at Sloths, he had a fit Z Roberto and very good strikers that were very good at headering. Other than that, after he got rid of those, he had nothing.
Beckham coming on for Kufre, going 2 at the back with an extra man and midfield. And Ian Edwards going as is. Unsurprising, given their dominance thus far. Still Byrne more likely to score next as Kuehl puts one over the bar. The home side finally have an attempt or 2 on goal, and Penza getting involved. Will we have a busy last 10 minutes, possibly? Another team's kit I struggle to read. But it looks like Byrne are withstanding any pressure from the home side. And the full-time whistle about to go. Will they get a third before? Oh, it's a couple of decent opportunities, but they don't convert them. But it doesn't matter because as the full-time whistle goes, I've not noticed this before. A referee that just has a surname. No first.
Brazilian.
Referee Green.
Brazilian.
Match stats. It wasn't. It certainly wouldn't be first on match of the day, but Byrne were efficient, did what they had to do, and got the result.
Yep, typical Ian performance, that isn't it?
We see messages like that says pathetic again, but when do managers, when they're in this sort of situation, think maybe it's not the players, maybe I have to do something different?
Well, he's tried everything, hasn't he? And he's just awful at all of it.
Well done, Edwards. The 3 at the back won't be. Lots of talk already about the 3 at the back. Let's have a look at the individual stats. Substitutes had virtually no impact for the home side, and Penza did manage to get a shot in on goal. But other than that, didn't contribute virtually anything. Petit, despite being on a team that lost 2-0, getting man of the match.
Yeah, he's in a difficult position because you've got Beckham, which is, if I'm going to be serious, not take this out of him for being shit. Beckham is a right winger, can only play right MR, and if you're gonna have an MR, you can't really have wing backs in the same lineup. So he's either got to commit and play with wingers, or he's got to play with wing backs, because Beckham in the centre does fuck all.
I'm inclined to disagree in the sense of I think if you play him in a midfield 3 as an RCM, he is capable of numbers.
But that's just my take. If you have him with an arrow out wide, but then you don't want wing backs overlapping onto that space.
Back to 3 up top next year then, says Rob. Greevesy wants Beckham, not having him now. And Ian having his say on that particular subject, he likes him at AMR. And Tato joining in the discussion. DMs are open for Beckham. Macca saying Beckham is his boy. Unfortunately, we found out, much to the dismay of Dragons, Rob has no transfers left either. Now, that doesn't mean to say, remember, all of you are forgetting, if you really want a shot of players, then those that have deals can just buy for cash. You know, if Rob really wants rid of Beckham, then Macca could just go and offer him 30 million for him, and we can get that done. It just means Rob loses a player, that's all. Macca not got deals either. Okay. Someone must have deals. Duggan definitely does. Jens does. If one of them wanted Beckham, they could offer cash. I will give you 50 million for Beckham, says Scott. Let's have a look at Northern Berg quickly before we move on. Virtually the perfect away performance, isn't it, Greevesy?
You can't quibble at that. No ratings under 7. I know he hasn't got a 9 rating, but you won't care about that. Everyone's put in a good shift, and you've picked up the 3 points.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that might even put them top of the league as we stand now. Possibly, anyway. Let's move on to what I believe is now the penultimate game of the evening. And it is Bostock Stanley, who, after an incredible start to the season, have lost their last 2 without scoring. They host the Badgers, who had been in good form themselves, but have had a couple of indifferent performances and results of late. The only alteration for Bostock, no reserve swaps for them, incidentally, but due to the CC's suspension, Yepes is at left centre-back with Honsho on the right. Everything else remains as is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful side, isn't it? It's very workmanlike. You've actually got 4 former Loco players in the first 11, which is always good to see. And yeah, it's a star-studded team that should be romping the league.
So when you say should be romping the league, and we mentioned it before, that at the start of the night, there was 3 points between them in 5th and Vikings at the top. But is that almost a little dig to say that Bostock should be doing better than they are?
Well, in all honesty, he's been playing that 18-year-old Norwegian at AMC instead of either Totti or Del Piero to try and make the game interesting for himself. And he just slipped to 5th because he's been getting bored with battering people.
Let's have a look at the Beckham for Romario. Neither of which are your players, Jens. Or have I forgot where Romario plays? No. Oh, I see. Okay. Anyway, Agahawa and Roberts out injured for Badgers, who call up Luizao. I must admit, I got very confused with what Badgers were doing. So, Tato, if you could just check before we continue that you're happy with this. But as far as I understood it, Luizao's been promoted, doesn't make the squad. Chadwick's been promoted, gets a place on the bench. And Closer's been promoted, gets a place on the bench at the expense of Kesman, Swieczowski, and who's the third one? I can't remember who the third one is. It should be someone who's not in the squad, I suppose. Was her dad in the first team? I can't remember. Anyway, those 3 have definitely, Tato says it's fine. So I'm happy with that. But yes, those 3 have been called up, 2 of them making the bench. The squad, there was 1 or 2 alterations from last time out. Obviously, they played wingers. They've dropped them back to fullbacks this time round. Liz Razou back in for the injured Agahawa. And Zenden is another one who returns to the starting 11. Obviously, without Roberts, Davidov is playing up top. No place for Ficini, or as I say, Luizao. Frey has been getting the attention in the press of late. He's a bit of a Marmite goalkeeper for some, Greevesy, but have you been impressed with what he's managed to do at Badgers thus far?
Yeah, he's been doing really well. I am a fan of Frey, but usually on later on in years. I do want to know what pictures Carmona has of Tato to be able to get in the starting lineup every week ahead of Ugo Ekiog, because they've got to be bloody raunchy. And if he's not releasing him, he probably may as well. I'm a big fan of the DM line that he's got. Van der Vaart's been pulling up trees, and Zenden at AMC is a mystery.
In the sense of you don't know what you're going to get, or why he's bothered.
He's a winger, isn't he? I'm not a fan of playing players out of position.
Okay, let's Tato. Sorry, Rock's referring to Tato. I'll back Tato on that. Ekiog is absolutely mince. A lot of people like Ekiog. I'm surprised that Rox would say that, to be honest. A lot of people like him on the game, but he hasn't had a great couple of appearances so far. For the final time tonight then, sir? Oh, that one's ghost gamed. So once again, Badgers are on last. Textbook. Right, let's have a look at Rose then, who made a couple of alterations themselves. Day not fully fit yet, but he returns to the squad. Daisy, I believe, has been promoted, as has Fernando, as has Montano. I think there's one more, but I can't remember. Steve, like Alf, was one of the ones who did multiple. He's stuck with the tactic that he played last time out. Bermudez has come in, I think, for his first start of the season. And Montano straight from the reserves into the starting 11.
Ridiculous swapping out Nicky Ferenko is a shock to me. Montano can get good a few seasons in, but Nicky Ferenko is Nicky Ferenko. Talk to me, Steve, when we get deals. I'll take Nicky off your hands if you don't want him. There's a good DM line.
In fairness, he's started every game this season. This first one he's been dropped for.
I know, it's shocking. When you sell Francesco Totti for a player, you play that player every game.
Okay. Let's have a look then at your own side. You're without the injured Maldini. Emma Nielsen's out as well. I don't believe you made any reserve swaps this time around, if I remember rightly. Still no place for the likes of Tristan or Takanadi or Arca in the squad. You did bring Joe Cole back in though from last time out. He come in place of Emerson, who I believe is actually he's dropped to the bench.
And the press has been clambering for Cole to start.
So you've given in to the press, have you?
For the odd occasion, just to prove a point. And at the end of the day, it's only White Rose, isn't it? So
it's only White Rose, isn't it? Well, on that note, let's go to kickoff. And I will wish both yourself and Steve the very best of luck. And I will catch up with you at half time. Celtics with the first attempt of the half. Zayaleas goes into the book inside the first 15 minutes. Rose coming forward, their first attempt of the game. Both sides having opportunities inside the first 20. Another yellow card. Should have been 1-0 to the home side there this time. And on a follow-up, good double save. The home side look to be getting there of dominance. Butt goes in the book. Shevchenko misses an opportunity. Gatos down the left. Fine save this time by the Celtics goalkeeper. 5 minutes go till half-time. And there it is. And Joe Cole back in the team. This is why the press know what they're talking about. It is 1-0 to the home side. And there goes the half-time whistle. That was a bit more end-to-end than you would like, Greevesy.
Yeah, you know my opinion. But I'm very happy winning. I'm not winning my headers. If I was winning my headers, the game would be slightly different.
When you are creating chances, are you looking for more than a 25% on target rate, or are you looking at it as more of a 100% conversion rate?
No, I don't like a lot of players having long shots. I would be concerned if Cole was having that shot from outside the 18-yard box, because I do not like having a lot of players taking long shots all the time, because it's just wasting the ball. Yeah, it's just a lot of been big midfield battle. If you look at it, they've been under the cosh, been winning the tackles, been losing the headers, not really getting the second balls. So,
I mean, you've got a lot of big players in this team. Are you in any way frustrated in the lack of output there by Davids or Raul?
Davids has been very good, and Raul is my top scorer. So, and he's got an assist.
I mean, specifically in this game, not generally. Specifically in this game so far.
No, he's got an assist. Davids has been putting himself about. He's missed 3 tackles and he's missed 1 header. Both tackles that Davids has had a key. Davids isn't there to be a passing, goal-scoring midfielder. He's there to be disruptive higher up the pitch.
Okay. While you decide if you'd like to make any changes, let's bring the row stats up. Ronnie Johnson, he'd been being praised by his manager last time out for his consistent form. He's really struggled. Very low numbers of passes attempted for key players. Montano not really having the desired effect today either. Veron very quiet. Dyer is seeing as much of the ball as anybody. He's working quite hard. But yeah, it's just a bit average really from White Rose.
Yeah, he's got to be disappointed with how much he's been talking Ronnie Johnson up in recent weeks, to then for him to reward his gaffer's fine words with a 5 at half time.
So you've had a chance to consider. We'll leave Steve's up on the screen for a moment, but would you like to make any halftime alterations?
No, keep going till 60.
Keep going till 60. Make sure Johnson for Hussein. Oh, Steve's changing it up. Ronnie Johnson for Dario Hussein. 2 up top, arrows off the DMs. And Nikki Ferenko coming on for Montana. See, I find this interesting. A lot of managers do this. They do what I call the experiment. In this case, it's Montana, and they give it exactly 45 minutes to work.
Well, we all know if you can't hack it in 45 minutes of Super League action, you shit.
Let's resume then for the second half. And we play to 60. Rose showing their hand early. Will it pay dividends? Oh, and there's a big attempt there for the home side. Failed to convert. We reach an hour. You're still 1-0 up, Greevesy. Feeling confident?
Yeah. Keep going. As is.
As is for Greevesy. As for White Rose, Levinsky, the only outfield player still available. I'm wondering at this stage if Steve moves butt central and puts Dyer and makes this a 4 just to try and cause more pressure on that midfield. You said that Davids was there to break things up. Maybe an extra body in there might help Rose.
Dyer's getting a 9 already where he is, isn't he?
He is. But could he be more effective
if you take him out?
Well, we all saw what Nicky Butt is capable of when he was in a full Chester shirt.
Yeah, but he's pulling a 7 rating at the moment, ain't he? So Dyer's been holding him up.
Maybe he does it the other way then. Dyer plays there on his own and move Butt forward.
But I just know that playing against them two, Raul already has 1 assist in this game. Do they really want to leave him with only 1?
This is why the managers are paid the big money to make the big decisions. We're just here to speculate and commentate on what is happening until that time. What have you made of the impact of... Why can't I find him on the list? Where is he? There he is. Marquinhos. This is his 3rd start. He's also had 4 sub-appearances. Just a 1 goal contribution so far. Decent pass completion rate, but tackles not particularly high for the winger.
What impact are you talking about?
Just on the team.
Meh. He'll be dropped like an old girlfriend as soon as Day-Day's fit.
Well, yes, he certainly isn't Day-Day, that is for sure. Have we seen anything yet from Steve in the chat regarding...
No, he's still having a hissy fit after my comments about Johnson.
Yes, I did see that. Talking Johnson after 6-8 in a row, you melt. was the last comment that we had from Steve. Give him 30 more seconds to decide. Here we go. Paul Sander AMC. Like this. Legwinski for Carboni. Sub with Legwinski, Carboni.
Swap Dyer and Lewinsky. Lewinsky
like this.
Yeah.
Arrows on Nicky, but he said arrows on Nicky and Carboni, but he's just taking Carboni off. Unless he means Sand's coming off.
I think so.
Right, hang on. Right, so it's Sand that's coming off. Carboni's going in here. And Legwinski, and then Dyer's going wide. There we go. That was much easier. Let's resume the action. Slow it down. We've got only one goal in it going into the final 10 minutes. Oh, it's got to be a penalty. And it is. He's been sent off and they've just used their last sub.
Beautiful.
Oh, I've not seen this in a long, long time in the Super League. Well, Steve, who's going in goal for the penalty? Obviously,
if not, if you
you can make any tactical alterations you'd like with the red card as well. We're getting the instant reaction in. Oh my. Armwinski in goal. Oh shit balls. Bermudez is the man. So it looks like he's going a defender in goal and one at the back. Lucio Central. Would you like to make any alterations yourself?
No, keep as is.
Okay, let's slow it down for the penalty. 10 minutes to go. Shevchenko runs up and dispatches.
Beautiful.
And that should wrap this one up for the home side. Rosa falling apart again, says Scott. Oof, crikey Moses, says Ian Edwards. You didn't actually really challenge the defender in goal after the penalty.
You didn't have to, did it? Boys are professional. They took the foot off the gas and carried on.
Both sides created similar amount of chances. Both sides equally wasteful in front of goal. But again, you had 100% conversion rate, which you'll be delighted in. Your tackle percentage exactly where you want it to be. Although you did lose out in the air a fair bit. I think, all things considered, looking at that, you probably deserve the win, to be fair.
Yes, I'd like to see more shots on target, but whenever we got a shot on target, the ball went in the net. So I can't criticise that. I would like to see more headers won. In the last game, Shevchenko and Darko were dominant in the air, and unfortunately they weren't this game. My centre-halves not winning any headers is very concerning, considering who they are. But a performance like that I'm going to take.
Joe Cole back in the team, man of the match performance.
Yeah, he might have earned his spot in the next game, depending on who we're playing. I'm very happy with David's performance in the centre. If he was playing at DMC with those stats, he'd be on a 9. Elias doing what Elias does, and my fullbacks causing problems.
Apart from the fact that Steve can't seem to type anything grammatically accurately, I don't think he's too happy with me saying that you deserve the win based on what I was watching. But I'm here purely to comment, Steve. We don't have to agree. But one thing you can't argue with is that you lost 2-0 tonight because you didn't convert any opportunities. You mentioned Kieran Dyer was getting a 9. That didn't stay. That dropped right down to a 7. The subs had virtually no impact on the team. It wasn't a terrible performance by Rose, but they just weren't really at it tonight. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either.
No, it's they do sing the song "White Rose Get Battered," don't they? So it just happened again. I've got a lot of time for Steve though, but what are you doing to the little witch? Juan Sebastian Veron on a 6. You played him at DMC as a hatchet man. Now you play him at MC as a 6. It's just appalling.
A few players you've said that about. Our managers starting to feel the pressure. Our decisions being questioned. Who is going to crack? But congratulations, Greevesy, on the win. Bermuda's 9.
I'll see you in the DMs, and I'll buy your a pint soon.
That takes us back to Badgers v Bostock. We will go to the game. Just a quick reminder of the teams. Just the defensive changes. It was for Bostock, and Badgers playing their usual kind of formation, just with the alterations of whether it's 2 behind 1 or 1 behind 2. They did actually pull back the wingers to make wing-back, sorry, as well. Zenden was the man you picked out as interesting with his performance. So a score prediction, please, for the final game of the night.
Bostock 2-1.
Fyfie, who do you think is going to go nuclear if and when deals come? Depends what you mean by nuclear. I imagine, and I don't think I'm going to be too far wrong in saying it, that there is probably 5 clubs at least who have already agreed deals, despite no deals being announced. I imagine of those 5, 3 have probably agreed to more than 1, which means they're fucked if I say you only get 1 transfer at any point in the season. And that is one of the main reasons why I'm not pressing trigger on a transfer window, because people shouldn't be agreeing them advanced times. And the reason is because you get people like Hodgie who have them left over, people like yourself, Duggan, who have them left over, and Klein, you have nobody to deal with. Even though there are still clubs with deals, you want to deal with people who have already spunked all their deals. So while you have them there, I don't think they're really needed. Yes, Fyfie, get them told. I'll be honest, I don't think any deals have been done. Actually, I think I'm pretty confident you're wrong there, Tato. I'm pretty sure I could confidently name people who have definitely had discussions and probably got a gentleman's agreement. If Fyfie says we get a transfer, I'll do it. If Fyfie says we get free, I'll do it. Nuclear terror.
I am the worst culprit, and I haven't.
Tear it up and start again. I don't think anyone, because I think you're all pretty safe in the knowledge that I'm not going to be giving out like 7, 8, 9 transfers. So I don't think anyone's going to be ripping it up and starting again. For clarity, Hatchet Man or not, Veron will see the save out at White Rose, says Steve. Half an hour played, not much has happened. But Totti, just as I say that, and then Zenden on his debut levels things up. 1 apiece. Nothing happened for half an hour, and then the game suddenly sprung into life, Greasy.
Yeah, it's typical Badgers, isn't it? They don't do nothing, then they just go batshit crazy, and then that's it.
Tato already saying play till 60 without even seeing the stats. We'll start with the home side. There's very little to talk about, although there has been plenty of the ball.
Yeah, it's just battles in midfield, isn't it?
As for the away side, again, do you know what? Their ratings aren't quite as high as the home side, but credit where it's due. They didn't sink after conceding the goal and got back in it quite quickly.
Yeah, Van der Vaart is turning into a world-class player under Tato for some particular reason.
Del Piero coming off at half-time for Davy Collins.
That's just to insult Tato, isn't it? Bring the boy on to score against him.
Let's Saviola and Tudor for little Pablito Scott. Was just a question for a quick discussion. Didn't expect. Oh, Hamlet there, lad. Sauce. Well, you ask opinions, I'll give opinions. And it's 2-1 in his Van der Vaart, the worldie, as you just described him, gives the away side lead. And our Bostock on for 3 defeats in a row. Oh, it's a red card. Oh, and it's huge. It's Famani for Badgers, one of their more influential players. Oh, this is huge for the away side now.
Take off Davidoff, but he doesn't have defensive players on the bench, so it's just going to be move him across. That's it.
Go 0 up top. Drop Van der Vaart back, maybe?
No, Van der Vaart's pulling up trees where he is.
This is the danger. I've praised Tato for his attack-minded benches, his game-changing benches, but now it's okay. Just bring on. This is where that attacking mindset comes back to bite you when you don't have the defensive reinforcements. Scott had both last save ends. I got both from him. Not sure he'd do it. If you're Tato here, like say, with the lack of... Just move Gladzy across.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jens basically shutting down Steve in the chat. You've done your deals, mate. Let the people allowed to talk. Liza is... Oh, okay. Right, so we're going like this. Pushing central, then swap Davidoff closer. Did you want to keep the arrow on Brugink, Tato? If you could just confirm, please. We saw Brendan playing out of position in an AMC role. He's now out wide. Lizarazu moving slightly in centre. Are you confident that someone who's more naturally playing wide is going to be okay in that?
Yeah, Lizarazu should be able to do a job there. He's brilliant.
Steve is only 4 players away from having every single player in the database at Dudley Hill. Right, that's all that Tato wanted to do. Big opportunity this now for Bostock to get back in the game. What if
unusual fight?
Yes, couple of the big name players underperforming tonight. Does Scott change things too much tactically, or does he back the process?
I think he's got to back the process. He's got the bench.
Well, we will wait news of what he wants to do. Just seeing there's still talk. Henshaw. Oh, wow. I'm presuming you'd want it more like that. If you could just confirm with the aforementioned Strand, who Greevesy spoke about in the build-up. Scott going one at the back to try and force the issue. And adding arrows to the DMCs. Totti on the left. Collins central. Lot of praise coming in for Scott's balls deep mentality, but you won't be enjoying the sight of this at all, will you, Greevesy?
No, it's disappointing.
Bringing the Super League into disrepute, is it?
It's a shame.
It's a shame. So the 10 men of Badgers, they are a goal up. They've got something to protect. Are they going to be able to do it though? And Brugink closer. Oh, but yes. Then Stanley managed to withhold against 10 men, but closer again picks it up. Van der Vaart's knocked over. Tomazi gets booked. Samuel now. Kamuna. Zenden. Just playing it around at the back, really, there. Collins looks out for Junior. Still Junior. And it's still Junior. Totti. Frey does well to save with his feet. Now Lizarazu, Zenden, closer. Calm with the save. It falls to Brugink. Oh, but Totti's in the way. What's he doing back there? Into the final 10 minutes.
Someone's got to go back there, haven't
they? Fine save by Khan again, and it's a corner. Zenden swings it, but Tamazi gets a clear into the final 5. Tato saying this is like the fucking Alamo now. Although Badgers have looked quite good since the changes into injury time. And there's the final whistle, and remarkably, Bostock have lost again.
Tato is going to be fucking loving life at the minute. He's got 3 points, and he's in the middle of half term. Half term's kicked off, and he's going to be, well.
I'd just like to highlight these comments, which sum the Super League up perfectly, if I may. Haggis saying, everyone is literally beating everyone, to which Steve Wright thankfully points out, but the draft was shit.
It was, because he lost.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Did all the top 6 lose? Yeah.
I think they did, yes. Incredible manufacturing. Let's have a look at the home side stats first. 6s and 7s all over the shop. Only Totti getting above an 8. Very, very disappointing for a completely out of sorts Bostock at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think the 2 Rent boys coming off the bench has hampered them, and their influence in the squad has helped drag it back to the league level.
Dimble saying more narratives being busted than laptops recently. As for the Badgers, Van der Vaart getting man of the match for his performance. Frey continuing to impress between the sticks as well. The ratings aren't too dissimilar, really, are they? But Badgers did really well when it went down to 10 men to control it. And really, they had the better of the chances.
There's just that Rafael van der Vaart has been the difference in this game, hasn't he?
I would also disagree with the comment that Steve has said there. Galactico squads have never won a Super League. I believe that when the Devils won it, they were considered as having the best squad of that season, and they went and won it. So that's another myth busted. Congratulations to Badgers. Big win that against Bostock Stanley. And let's have a look at the confirmed results. So we had Astor 0, Gazelles 1, Bostock 1, Badgers 2, Dragons 3 getting that first win of the season, East Coast 1, Fulchester beating Casuals 1-0, Haggis 3, Vikings 1, Northern Burn 1, Triple P 0, Burn 2, and Celtics 2, Rose 0. That leaves the league table looking like this. Northern Burn go to the top now on 21 points, ahead of Vikings.
That's the only change.
That is the only change. Casuals, Coast, Stanley, and Gazelles all remain in the top 6. Just 4 points separating Burn from Gazelles. But they didn't win it season before. I wouldn't call that Devil Squad. Galactico seemed better squad, but all about opinion. But the point you made was Galacto squads have never won a Super League. If the Devil squad was considered one of, if not the best, the season they won it, then surely that's a Galactico. I don't understand. Apparently, if you break someone's opinion, then you're wrong and not the opinion. I don't know. It's hard to say what's going on anymore, Greevesy. Let's have a look further down the table. Fulchester, yourselves and Badgers all on 16, just a point below the dotted line. Haggis quietly going about their business. They're up to 15 points, just 2 points below the dotted line. White Rose on 12, 5-point gap. So they're going to have to start picking up form. 5 points off top. Take that. Indeed, Tato. Then we've got Triple P, Astor, and Dragons now just separated by 2 points. And who would have thought that a Rob team would be the lowest goal scorers in the league? Just 9 scored in 11 games.
How many Devils last year?
It wasn't many.
No. There's 2 words that sum up that PP team: shite and shite.
Not only are they the lowest goal scorers, but also the highest conceded. Let's have a look at the fixtures for Thursday. So we've got Badgers at home to Triple P. Bostock Stanley at home to East Coast, two teams who really...
Well, I knew my good run was going to come to an end.
Who really need a win. Gazelles host Haggis. That could be a good game. Burn host yourselves. Vikings Dragons. Casuals versus Astor. And White Rose versus Fulchester. Fyfie, Ian had far better teams at B-Tech than you had, in my opinion. I'm doing you a favour saying your squad wasn't as good as people made out. It's just one person's opinion. A lot of people said that Devils team was the best squad. It was between Devils and Burn in everyone's predictions. The fact that Devils won it and then Burn won it tells you that therefore two Galactico squads did win it. It's irrelevant now. It's ancient history. It's a different iteration, not even a different season. And all the talk should be about the current 14 clubs. Resurgent Dragons, they've won one game. That's not, you know, if they win the next one, then they're resurgent. Winning one could just as easily be a fluke. Player stats wise, Vieira continues to lead the average ratings. Zaleas of yourself, Greevesy, the next player to get over an 8 rating. Sigalko, 3 points clear of Anelka in the Golden Boot race. Assist wise, a couple of players there: Kuhl, Sadorf, Agat, and Shax all on 5. One great team with BTXD, but no striker and learn lessons there. That's all we can ever do, Ian, is learn lessons. Yellow cards wise, what have we got? Montero, Buck, Keane, Tamazi, all on 6s. So they'll be.
I'm gonna have Elias is going to be suspended, the bastard.
Red card's good too, so still the only player to have 2. And then the ones that Tato really likes to see, the pass completion stats. We've got the tackles per game stats. There's Zaleas again. We've got the dribbles per game. Ryan Giggs still destroying everybody. Very wise. I try.
The dribbling.
Shots on target goes to Roy Mackay. Let's not forget, good night, Jens. I appreciate the time difference, and you probably do need to go to bed. There'll be a sort of 10-15 minute window now, and then I will be back with Mr. Savage for the second leg of Australia's World Cup playoff against Uruguay. The Wizard of Oz returning shortly. But any final messages from you, Greevesy, before we say good night?
No, it's just been thanks for having me on, and Viva la Super League.
Viva la Super League indeed. Thank you very much for your time this evening. We'll be back shortly with Mike to go through Australia. But if you can't stick around for that, we will see you Thursday, where comms are currently available. So if you're interested, please do drop me a message. But from me and from Greevesy, thank you very much for watching. Good night.